Aguero! Special beyond special!
Best player in the Premier League.
Captain Marvel! Drogba! Rooney! Oh, wonderful! That is one Derby diamond.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's match day.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode 21, Clash of Clubs. No Dylan. Just me and Mila today. We're recording this Monday night for us, so right after the United Newcastle game, along with the Chelsea loss. So we got to cover the back-to-backs now. Wonderful. And who else played today? Oh, Villa Brighton.
Villa Brighton. Yeah.
So we're gonna go on City. City got their win. So
finally,
we'll kind of see what's on the up and up for City. Already in fifth now. Chelsea, of course, we lost 2 straight after a draw with Everton, 1 in our last 9. We got to go over some things there. We'll bash United without Dylan here for a bit.
It's not a bashing at this point.
I will. And whatever else we waffle about. But get us going, Mila. What'd you see? Because I watched that game. Happy for you. Personally, not the team.
I'm glad you watched it because I'm sure you can back up a lot of the things I'm saying. We looked not good. We looked okay in spurts, attacking spurts mainly, but overall I didn't think it was anything to write home about, but we did get the win. The most important stuff is the 3 points, especially in the form we've been in. Mentally, I think that's going to do a lot, but just looking at us defensively, it's the same stuff we've been talking about. So this is what we were talking about right before. Yeah, it's just like a lot of these issues are the same things that we can't really fix until Rodri gets back or we pick up someone in January.
I do think Kovacic looked better. I mean, obviously he was out he was okay. Kind of right in the middle of that run. I'm saying relative to just kind of what we were seeing with Gundogan trying to play that role. I think Kovacic is definitely better there. Yeah, it's...
Yeah, essentially, though, like if you just look at it, we had KDB, Silva, Kovacic, and Rico. It's too small and weak. Need a little bit of... I've been saying it every episode for like the past couple of weeks. We can get stuck in. None of those guys really get stuck in. And if they do,
more than stuck in.
They'll get stuck. But it's like, but they're not doing anything productive with it. Right. And honestly, I haven't seen him get stuck in lately.
Well, you remember the Arsenal game? Was that last year? Where he should have been sent off.
Has nothing to do with anything. Yeah, he has nothing to do with this year.
He loves the late challenge. He loves the late challenge.
No one's getting stuck
looked
in
good centrally, though. I thought. I mean, it was just a tweak.
Yeah. Offensively, that's the thing. A lot of these guys look good offensively, and I think that brings up the overall rating. But out of possession, we are really
I'm trying to remember back.
Really vulnerable right now.
I feel like towards as the game went on, it got, I wouldn't say more secure, but it seemed less likely that Leicester were going to be able to get that goal. But especially early, before you guys got the goal, either team for me, I felt like, wow, like this really could go either way in terms of who's going to score first, and then obviously from that point, the game
if we
can go
played
either
a better
way.
team.
So.
Yeah, we play a better team, but they probably score if maybe they could have beaten us, honestly, if they just played with more, if they had more talent in the squad.
Holland looked a lot better, obviously got his goal, but in terms of the general
weight off his shoulders, I think he needed that for sure.
Yeah.
But also, in general, like some dribbles, he had one like on the run, and he kind of
remember he dribbled a few guys. The shot kind of just dragged it a little bit. But
there was that one, but the one that stuck with me more was the one where he was running counter with Foden, and then he gives him like a nice little pass to set up a header that he just doesn't get right. But that's the type of stuff I want to see more.
Yeah, I wouldn't
those link ups.
This could probably get taken out of context, but I'm trying to speak in more broad terms. I feel like with Haaland, like we all know what his strengths and weaknesses are as a player. Pep, probably tactically speaking, the best coach we've ever seen in terms of finding a solution to a problem. Obviously not right now, but just in general, he knows how to maximize certain players. He built a system around just funneling chances into the sky. But let's not forget, like at Dortmund, obviously, again, goal scoring is the primary focus for him. Let's not act like he has zero play other than just the goal scoring. Like he can't drop in and take a touch.
Definitely.
Obviously, it's looked a lot worse at City, I think, than what really represents his game. And I'm not saying he's, like Firmino on the ball, going to drop in and make plays, but we can't act like he can't take a touch, have a final pass on him. I remember the game against Arsenal 2 years ago, I think, probably one of his best games in the league in terms of the all-around play, the 4-1. Like, it's in him, but again, the system is catered to. We have enough players to get you the ball and chance it. You're gonna look at the hat trick numbers, for example. Like it works, but I think the disrespect with his all around game. I understand the narrative and the commentary to it, but I think it's a bit overkill. And he kind of just showed that, like, hey, like I do have more in my game. Like, let's not act like I don't have that. So, did just kind of want to put that out there with him.
I mean, he has to do that right now.
Right.
We're not creating as
There's
much.
nothing. Yeah.
Savinho was that bright spot
Kind of
for
an
the
FPL.
majority of the game, and then I think the other guy that needs talking about is probably McAtee.
Yeah,
he did
forgot
really
about
well.
that.
Really well to
for the
start
second goal. Yeah.
start the second goal.
That I'm sure was encouraging for you. That second goal.
Yeah,
That
of course.
Like
She's
Peak City in terms of just the movement. Everyone knew what they were doing.
It's also
Everyone
just an
was
academy product that finally got his chance. Like he had to basically say, "Hey,
Back.
I'm gonna leave in 3 days if you guys don't let me play." And then Pep gave him a chance, and he did something with it. I think it's only gonna go up for him from there. But
No, he
gotta
definitely
give him
looked
more
confident.
chances. Definitely have to give him more chances, though.
Yeah, I think every move that he had throughout the game in that appearance with like 20, 25 minutes, he looked the part.
Mhm.
I'd like to see him get some minutes going forward, especially again, given where you guys are at. Like, give it a go. It can't hurt. So good to just get the win, but yeah, performance can definitely be improved. Who do you guys have next?
We have West Ham.
Yeah,
Like
they're a bit
tactically
shit.
and on paper, we should still beat them right now. But if they play a hard-nosed game, they can make it really difficult for us.
Yeah, throw
That's the
Sushek
thing. Like
and
even if
Alvarez
they're
in
not
there
that
in front
good,
of a
yeah.
five back. That's a.
And then they're just
tough
gonna
ask.
throw our players around in the midfield. They might actually make something out of it. So it's gonna be a rough one.
Home or away?
This is we're at home, I believe.
Okay, that helps.
Yeah. I really don't think there's much to talk about. Other
Yeah,
than
I'm just excited. I mean, that's the last game in December for you guys. So now we're going to see. I still think it's a tough market to work because everyone knows you're desperate for players. You have the money to spend, but I'm sure you do something. So,
Oh, they're definitely going to make signings.
and I'm sure they've got ideas, so it's probably going to be sooner rather than later. So it's kind of exciting to see how everything pans out. I guess kind of a decent segue into the next topic. The table's just, it keeps flip-flopping, shuffling, bar the top, really. Chelsea, who kind of seemed really comfortable in top four race, and obviously people even putting us in the title race. Now we have one win in our last nine. 9 points available. 1 point out of our last 9 to Everton, Fulham, and Ipswich. On paper, this was the pretty simple, straightforward run for us. When Dylan was trying to talk about title run, this was kind of the run of fixtures I referenced, saying if we get through this as we should, if we take care of business as we should, then we can have those conversations in January. And unfortunately, I was right. The team started to show, I wouldn't say it's true colors, but they're regressing back to the mean. They're having a blip. I mean, I feel like that's something that we kind of saw coming, not particularly in this run of fixtures, but at some point, most Chelsea fans are really referencing this run of form. It's going to die off. How does the team really respond is what I want to see. But yeah, it's really disappointing. Before I kind of get all into it, you have any overarching thoughts on it, Mila? Just kind of where they're at, past few performances.
Yeah, I guess we can go off that, and just like in general, the game. Just watching the game, it looked like Palmer was the only one that could create anything.
The game today.
And as you go deep into that game, like he loses a bit of his edge because he's just tried so much and he's getting frustrated. He can't really do anymore.
Yeah,
he got a little unlucky at times too, though. I think
for sure. Free kick off the woodwork.
He looked good.
I thought the middle in general was the brightest part of the field for us. I thought Enzo and Caicedo did pretty well today. Enzo kind of in that free role to kind of find passes, find the ball, was more than willing to come take the ball, try and just make something happen again. Felix started off pretty shaky, didn't end up too bad, but I didn't love his performance today. Caicedo, again, does what he can in that midfield pretty much by himself today. I thought Colo was all right, but everyone else pretty disappointing in general for me. I mean, just in terms of the lineup when it first came out.
He does have an issue at right back.
I texted, I said it in the chat.
I know.
We have 3 right backs on the bench, and Champong and what he's shown us, I mean, go look at Lewis Skelly again, different situation, but a young, wide defender stepping into a team with now fit defenders, but he's earned those minutes, and I think Acheampong's shown, especially in his natural position, I think he is much better suited at right back than Axel Disasi is, and Disasi unfortunately showed it again. I don't doubt the player. I'm sure there is a player in there. I saw it last year at the Etihad. That was just a proper center back's performance from him. But given the way this team's trying to play, he doesn't belong. I think that's pretty straightforward. So I'm a bit disappointed in the manager. I do want to hold him accountable. I think he's been pretty much faultless up until the past few games in terms of the decision making. But as soon as that lineup came out, it was like, Disasi at right back. I thought we'd seen enough. He's not a right back, and even as a center back, defending those wide areas is also not his strength. So I was pretty upset with that. Yeah, again, Palmer, I thought he did all he could. I thought he had a good performance. The penalty at the beginning, that was a bit frustrating for me, but again, you concede one in the 10th minute. We have more than enough on the pitch to get that back. So I'm not thinking about, this penalty, and then it's just not enough for me.
I think when it comes down to your team, a lot of it is just mental. And that comes with what we were talking about all season, you guys' leadership. Because when it came down to it, and you guys need to keep your head, I saw your leaders losing their head on the pitch.
It got worse and worse.
So, yeah, and it's just like, they got to do more. Yeah, they got to do more, and it'll definitely translate.
2-0 just doesn't.
That's
it's
what
not
I'm
a good
saying.
look.
It's not like you guys are in the form that we're in, or you're United.
Right.
You guys haven't been doing good for 3 games.
Yeah, keep your fucking heads.
If this is how you're gonna react, then it could show a lot more cracks in the system when that happens. I don't think it'll be that bad. Hopefully, you guys just snap out of it, get it together. I just thought that whole
second half, honestly, pretty much after the goal, it was just nothing. Just sitting on the ball. There wasn't really anyone other than really Palmer's that really told me, like, hey, I want to win this game. They showed zero assertiveness for me. And it was just frustrating to watch. They were just sitting back, kicking it around, passing it sideways. Just there was no urgency. It felt deserved to come out of there with the loss. They just didn't work hard enough for me. So again, to your point, mental. It's all upstairs. Like, you have the talent. I mean, Felix got hooked first. I thought he wasn't too bad once he got into the game. And Nkunku, it's not his fault. He's not a striker, and the manager has said he's not a striker, but we're still sticking him up there in a Premier League game.
You can't play Jackson.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I think Jackson would have been fine. He played a lot last year. Nothing leads me to believe he couldn't play 2 games in a row. But he talks so much about trusting Guiu. All right, you're playing a team in the relegation zone. Wouldn't this be the perfect game to throw in a player like that? And I think he would have added a lot more than Nkunku did up top today. And again, it's not Nkunku's fault. I keep talking about it, but like, at what point are we just gonna stop pretending? Like, he's not a striker. We can't start him up there and expect great things from him. And he's not gonna get any minutes in the 10. Like, it's really just a matter of time before he leaves, which is tough. But it's unfair to him to just, hey, your only chance is in a position you're not comfortable in. There's a World Cup next year. He's going to want to play. So that one's just more of a formality for me. So I still don't think they bring a striker in January, though. I still think that makes any sense. I don't think you guys do either. I don't think there's any business to be done in January. If anything, you bring a couple guys back from loan, right? And I mean, Caicedo and Enzo play every game. Lavia, the fitness is starting to become more of a worry for me. Ugachukwu from Southampton, you bring him back. Santos over at Strasbourg. They can recall him in January. I think they're going to make some moves. They're recalling the Argentinian center back we bought, which is interesting. I'm glad that just came in.
You're recalling one guy, but that doesn't mean the other guy is able to be recalled. It's the thing in the contracts usually.
I'm not sure. I've seen us do it enough times to lead me to believe it wouldn't be a problem.
They would put in there. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Fofana's just been such a huge miss, just in hindsight. You would think you'd bring in Disasi for 45, Badiashile, who's hurt, for like 35. You've got all these center backs in. No one can really but just fill that void of the right-sided center back who can actually defend in the wide spaces. Disasi's clearly not that guy. He's not good in the wide areas whatsoever. He's not fleetest of foot, not great on the ball. I thought Acheampong would have been fine there. Reece James, I do not want to rush his fitness. We've seen how that story goes enough times, so totally fine with him not coming on. But yeah, Gusto coming on for DeSassi was confusing. I think, again, the Chempong does that role. If that's what you want that guy to do at right back, there's your guy waiting for you. But again, I think Fofana's been a huge miss. But again, you can't rely on a guy like him.
It's hard to bring in a
His
young guy.
fitness,
Also,
you know
when
what I
you're
mean?
down, though, to
Right.
your point about a Chempong, like I think you're not. It's more. It makes more sense to bring in someone like Gusto when you're down.
Yeah. Either way, I think it's frustrating from the manager, and you got to hold him accountable. I have no doubt in my mind he's the right guy. I have no worry he won't figure this out, but definitely a frustrating point. It's a lot easier to say this is going to happen than, watch those games where I think we should beat Ipswich. You lose 2-0. These things happen. It's frustrating, but just got to remember where we were at last year, understand we're on the right track. But yeah, absolutely infuriating, to be honest. Man, I mean, I think the Fulham game was much worse from us.
I didn't watch it, honestly.
Yeah,
I got to watch more of this than the.
Yeah,
Fulham
I mean,
game.
I wrote a bunch down because I was fucking pissed off. But Colwell played another guy on. Like, I think that's like the third or fourth time where the whole defensive line is like a foot or two behind him, and he's playing someone on for a goal. So those types of things, again, there's a reason this team just took itself out of the title race. It's these little things that add up. I mean, it's like the third or fourth time from, I think, a guy who's had a good year. But again, he's not immune to critiques. Gusto was fucking terrible against Fulham. He was awful. He was playing that right back role. He forgot he was playing right center back sometimes. And Pedro Neto ended up playing right back. And a lot of people were shitting on Neto, and there was no one back there to defend. Madueke, even a few times today, came back and bailed out DeSassi, which was infuriating to watch. Sancho was kind of disappointing in that game. Jackson started to teeter off a bit, which is kind of why I wanted him to play today, to get that rhythm going. He's such a rhythm guy. If he's not in that flow, it can look clunky. He can look really like not in tune with the game. Heavy touches, a second too late on passes, stuff like that. So kind of the same against Fulham, so I did want to see him play against Ipswich. Sanchez actually, again, was really good with the shot stopping, but awful distribution. 2 of 14 on long balls. And
for a Fulham game?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like,
Sanchez. And the Sanchez long ball is what led to the second goal. So, not that it was his fault 100%. There were a lot of opportunities for that not to happen. But Sanchez, again, fucking moments. Because he's been really good shot stopping like the past 5 games, I'd say. I think he's kept us in a lot of games. But it's just that same shit you see every time. There's only so long you can go before just not being able to tolerate it ever. Maresca with the subs, I was talking about that before today's game, but just in general, before today's game, it was only Nkunku coming on for Jackson. Madueke came on twice out of those 3, just late subs, not very proactive. So, again, critical of the manager because I think up until that point, he's been really good with in-game management, but I'm starting to see the cracks there. I can understand how Leicester had a huge lead and slowly it got chipped away before they almost lost it. I'm not saying we're going to capitulate and end up in the bottom half, but I'm seeing how these things happen. So you're starting to see all of what this manager is. You got to see the dark side of the moon now. But yeah, I already talked about it. Today's game.
You're putting a lot on the manager.
Oh no, I'm just being critical. I'm not in this like desperate state of, oh my goodness, something needs to change. It's not going to happen. But just from what I'm seeing, it's frustrating because you see everything going so well, and then you're starting to see things. Oh, I don't know about this, and then you lose.
This is what happens in young teams with no leaders. This is the main. I still think that's the main thing for you guys' team is the lack of leadership. If you had 2 to 3 guys that could keep the headspace steady, someone that says, "Hey, you're out of fucking position. Get back to where you need to be," and keeps everyone where they need to be, then these issues are not even being talked about anymore. Some of the things you're talking about are gone out the window, and they don't even have to change anything about their game. That's just all mental stuff that someone has to keep them accountable.
It's elementary school mistakes.
Yeah.
And you miss a guy like Thiago Silva now, obviously, for
Yeah, even if
Or,
he's not
yeah,
playing, at least
right,
if,
just
if he's
being there.
there, like it sets the precedent. Like, oh, or he can tell them afterwards. Like he sees those things. Some of these guys are probably just playing for their jobs. That's another
Right,
issue
they're
with
just
the
competing. They want to
massive
play. They're
roster.
playing for minutes,
Yeah, a lot of them are playing for minutes, playing
especially in those
for
forward positions.
spots, playing for moves. Yeah, they got to build as a team. So they need someone to get them on track, is what I think.
Someone that's just in a leader, like someone to
Yeah,
take.
that can be
So,
someone on your team already.
yeah.
That doesn't
Hopefully,
have
he
to
was
be
on the bench
an
today,
outside
right?
hire type of thing. It could be anyone on the pitch too. Someone just needs to find
I meant Reese.
that chest. Oh yeah,
Yeah, you don't rush
but
him.
someone around the squad just to hold them accountable, keep the heads up when it is going bad. None of this throwing a fit after a third bad game.
Yeah,
Like
that
it's
it
not the
was
end of the
tough.
world, and I think they just need to keep running with it because the league's so long,
Yeah, I mean,
so long.
we were 2 points off Liverpool, and I think 9 points clear of top four. Now all of a sudden, you're 2 points away from dropping out of the top four. That's where we're at in the season. We're halfway through, so it's tough to kind of just stay grounded, look at it, kind of just with the bigger picture in mind. But that's really what we have to do, especially given where we've been the past few years. I feel like a lot of fans are just so reactionary. It's so tough to just see right after a game, and you're scrolling through, all these people are losing their minds. Felix has to go, and the manager, oh my, it's absurd. April of last year, we were fighting over penalties up 4-0. You know what I mean? Like, if you
It's
told
it's an
me
improvement
at the
upon that
beginning
for
of the
sure.
season, you just sent me a screenshot of the table, are you taking this? What are you talking? Of course. So I understand expectations changing throughout the year, 100%, but I still think there's a lot more positives to take out of the first half of the season than negatives. Having said that, it is a sour note to end on. It is disappointing. All you can do is just look forward to the next game, Palace away. So that's where we're at. Fuck.
Looking forward to
No,
Selhurst Park.
no. You know what's crazy? Before this year, we last 12 games we played against them, we won every single one.
That is a little crazy.
That is,
But
yeah, I know, but yeah, Sellers Park's
they're
it's never easy. It's never
yeah,
smooth sailing. It's never a simple, straightforward one.
they're in a good run of form right now too, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they're not like blistering, but given where they started, it's just kind of getting back to where they were. They're on the up and
I
up. Yeah,
mean,
they've been in much better
the
form.
only games they've lost are to Arsenal in the past 5.
Right. So it's just a lot of draws.
And one of them it was a game. That was a Carabao Cup game that they actually took it to them a bit.
Yeah, they had to get fucking popped a few days later.
Happens.
Yeah, Arsenal been better. You hate to see it. Yeah, no. Should we talk about Saka for a bit though? I mean, that's pretty brutal for them.
Hey, honestly,
I feel like it's a similar situation to just when Odegaard went out. It's one of your two players you rely on to create.
It's the same shit we've been talking about them. I feel like that's why we don't talk about them much anymore. We talked about them a frequent amount when we first started doing these podcasts, but now it's the same shit every week. It's like, where are they going to make fun of them for not being able to make a goal in open play? Or we're going to defend them in that case, and we're like, oh, they don't have Saka or they don't have Odegaard, so who's going to do it? Like, we keep talking about it. Now, we flip-flopped. Odegaard's back, Saka's out. Do you think this is where we can talk about, I guess. Do you think Odegaard is going to have more impact on being in the team without Saka than Saka did being in the team without Odegaard?
I think they're better prepared for this situation than Odegaard being out. Just based off what we've seen, I think it's only been one game. Martinelli goes out on the right, Trossard out on the left. We continue. So the system stays almost the same versus when Odegaard's out, 4-4-2, mid-block. That's how we're playing. Lots of crosses wide. It's a completely different arsenal to this. Obviously, you're missing Bukayo Saka. That's a huge miss for any team if they had him. But again, you're just going to throw Martinelli on the right, have a go. So the system doesn't change too much relative to when Odegaard's out, so I think they're better off right now than where they were when Odegaard went out. But I mean, the results will speak for themselves. He's out for a long time. It's unfortunate. You hope the hamstring's all right. Hamstrings are fucked up. Obviously, we've seen with Reece James the past few years. It's just, I hope the same thing doesn't happen to Saka. You got to take your time with these things. But yeah, I don't see them in the title conversation, like I said, before he even got hurt. I think this is unfortunately the nail in the coffin. It's hard to recover from a player that quality being out for so long. You can't replicate it, even though you just throw the same player or a different player to the same position. It doesn't replace what he does. So it's really unfortunate for them. But given that it doesn't seem like they're going to do any business in January as well, I guess you look at next season.
January.
That's what they're saying. That's what Arteta's saying. So I guess this is what you're rocking with. You get the top four.
Till next season.
Yeah, they're back. Top four.
Same old.
It's tough. But yeah.
If there's one thing about Arsenal, they love consistency. Back in the day, it used to be fourth place.
It's the old Arsenal. That's huge. United?
Yeah, I guess we can. I don't want to talk about their performances that much. I don't need to watch their games to know their shit.
No,
you saw both the goals? The same shit.
It's literally
been the same shit we've been at. Like,
Trippier tried the Olympico. It's unbelievable. It's literally.
It didn't even it happened the exact same way. It's not just a cross went in. It's in between two of the center backs. There's a gap, and someone is free to run into that gap, and they get exploited every time. I understand, I think, what Amarim's trying to do. He's just going to stick with his guns, and you're going to fucking see that the people that you have put into this club, once great club, are not cutting it. They're not of the caliber that should be on that team, and this is the results. And I think it's pretty bold, but he kind of said it. He kind of hinted at it. He's like, I'm going to try to do what I can do, and if I get sacked, I get sacked. But
yeah, is this not what they hired him for?
Yeah, but
you know what I mean, they want to do
to the point. Like if it is your guys' Potter, like I just don't see the point.
No, I think that the only difference with them is the character. I think Amarim has the character. Potter, that was never really him.
That's fair.
And
yeah,
as soon as the results don't go your way, like all the pressure comes onto this poor guy. I don't think anyone really could have done much in that situation, let alone him. I still think he's a smart manager. I think he'll end up with a good job and he'll be back in the good graces of people in terms of what they think of him as a manager. I just kind of want to more go over the fact that I told you, motherfuckers. I told you. It was going to be 22-23 Chelsea all over again. I said that before Ten Hag got sacked. Dylan didn't want to have it. I wish he was here, but he can hold that. It just feels so good to be right about it, and I know it's redundant in terms of the performances, so it just more bigger picture. It is just shocking from an impartial point of view to just kind of see, okay, the first big move, let's stick with Ten Hag, spend a bunch of money relative to that system. Okay, these players will work with Ten Hag. Oh wait, he is still shit. Ben him. Let's bring in Amarim. A completely different style of play, completely different system that you're not equipped to. You don't have the money to spend to get his guys in. Probably not in January, let alone in the summer. But if you're going to completely switch the way you play, you probably need a summer to do that. I just think it's negligence to the highest level, of the highest order. I understand, like, when they cut the staff gifts at the end of the year, I understand, like, this is how you run a successful business. It's fucked up, but I understand what they're doing because they're stepping into a failing business, trying to fix it. But there's just lots of red flags that they've shown. I mean, tactically, it looked okay with a winger at wingback, but now with the two fullbacks, there's just nothing going forward. There's no inspiration.
They're not even fullbacks, though. That's the thing. They're kind of just, he's working with breadcrumbs here.
Yeah, no, you can't, because the only attacker he trusts to come back is Ahmad, but you need Ahmad in the 10s because Garnacho's not good enough to play there, Rashford's not good enough to play there, Xerxes not good enough to play there, Bruno's not good enough to play there in this system.
I think
there's nothing
the
to
main
work
difference
with.
in
There's
this,
nothing to work
the
with.
main difference I think between the Chelsea Potter situation and this is from the beginning, Amarim came in and said this will get worse.
For sure.
This will be bad. He knows how this is going to go. So I think if United fans are not prepared to ride it out with him, then they're not going to reap any of the benefits. What manager's going to come in and fix this right now? He has to do this so that everybody can see that the players he has are shit, that they can't do it, other than a handful of the players at the club.
Handful.
And some of them that might not even be shit. Some of them just don't deserve to be there. That's how it has to be. And I think he's trying to put that in there, and doesn't seem like he wants to keep the locker room steady too, though. So it's a very walking on ice type of situation for him.
Yeah, he's ruthless though. I think he wants to be ruthless, and that's what you need in this type of situation. But I also think another difference in that comparison of 22-23 Chelsea, they knew it was rebuild time. Now, to be fair, I think United do too. I think they were a lot more equipped to put out their plan of action and go for it. I mean, you saw how much they spent that first winter window when they went like Felix, Mudryk, all those guys. That was a nutty window, especially in January. And we were able to sell off a Mount for 55 to United, and Arsenal took Havertz for 65. I don't really think there's many guys that you can see them being able to sell. I don't think they're going to be able to clear out the way we cleared out, and I don't think they're going to be able to spend the way we spent.
Not in a January.
No. Yeah,
but once the summer comes around, it's definitely a lot easier.
It's going to be a lot tougher to sell those guys. I think just given like the wages they're on right now. Saudi's not the same when it first was, when they were able to come take Koulibaly off us.
They'll still probably take some of their players.
I know, it's just not as much of a banker. You know what I mean?
But they don't really. Yeah, they don't have any of the big names anymore. So.
Oh, I wrote this down, and I think it's funny, so I have to share it. But I did write down Garnacho, go play with your hero. That was forgot that wasn't the Newcastle game. That was against Wolves. So I thought that was a good one. So I tried to get that one off.
I feel like I started writing down notes, but.
Nah, I just had to write some shit down when I gotta like really prove a point. Yeah, I just think the whole team's so bad. Like I wrote down what Anthony,
I
right
still
wing
think
back's the
there's
best
some
option.
players.
Is it not?
I
given
think,
right now.
I think what is the problem with him playing there? He's gonna work hard.
Absolutely.
He's gonna play like he's gonna run up and down the pitch.
And that's what Emery
has
wants
some
out wide.
attacking prowess, less responsibility on his shoulders to create anything offensively
and
because he's playing a more defensive role. Exactly. Ahmad's gonna take a lot of that pressure off him. He can go do a lot. If there was ever a way to unlock Anthony, this would have to be it. No. This would have to be it.
Well, I mean,
in this team,
right. Because if you look at
if there is a player in him in that, then this is the way to go about it. I think
it's the exact same system that he had at Sporting that he reaped all that success in. You're literally just seeing these players aren't as good relative to where the league is, all that good stuff. They can't execute his football in this league, and that's literally what he's shown. But he does want. They're pretty much wingers in possession, are they not? So when you have Dalot in there, you have Mazraoui, like, they're not going to act as wingers, even if they're taking up those spaces wide. They're holding the width. They're not going to cut in and try and dribble. That's not what they're going to do. Anthony will add that threat. Whether or not he's going to execute, that's a different thing. I think, given where this team is right now, your best bet is to put him at wing back. I mean, like I said earlier, you saw the difference in goal threat when you had a winger out there, when you had Ahmad or even Anthony, and then when you have two fullbacks. It's night and day. So I think, I mean, I know you guys went into it in terms of recruitment a lot in the last episode, but those two wide positions are probably the most crucial in terms of this system working and being executed at its highest
agree.
Potential.
I definitely agree, but
it's a tough fucking ask, though.
It's the two hardest positions to fill at the moment.
Because the profile is really tough to find. Or you have to create the profile, to be honest.
They want one of each. They want an attacking one and a defensive one, basically.
Just smart.
It is, but it makes it infinitely more difficult to go find that player.
I mean, they could go get Chilwell for the left. and then Frimpong on the right.
Frimpong on the right makes the most sense.
I mean, yeah.
He's cheap. You just got to convince him to come. That's the only thing. That's the hard part in that.
Yeah.
On the left, though,
Show him an Ahmad.
you want a little.
Show him an Ahmad comp. This is who you're playing next to. That's so me personally.
But on the left, I genuinely.
And then Cobby, poor kid. Looks like he's the next scapegoat. I don't think he can really play in this system in that pivot. I'm not opposed to seeing him in the 10. I mean, ball carrying's always kind of been his standout trait for me when you see him in the middle. So receiving the ball with the back to goal, carrying the ball in those tight spaces, I can see him thriving in that spot. I mean, it can't get any worse. So I'd like to see him utilized there just to see what it looks like at least. But yeah, in that pivot next to Ugarte, who deserves a lot of credit. This is such an awful situation, and the fact that he's showing anything should be applauded. So obviously his familiarity with the system, but I still think he does deserve that credit. I have no idea who you put next to him.
I think Ugarte and Mainu can work, but I do think
you don't have anyone to progress the ball there, though. That's a problem for me. But if those two
need
are
the
there,
ball, you need
if those
Mainu
two
to
are in the
progress
middle,
it to creative players in
if
front of
those
them.
two
They don't
are
have
in the
anyone in
middle,
front of them.
you need really good wing backs to make that work. Because teams always shut down the middle now, so you want to play wide. If you have wing backs who can make that happen,
that's how the system works. Yeah.
But yeah, when it's fucking Dallo on the left, Dallo and Bruno to progress the ball,
I don't think there's any simple fixes from game to game. That's where a lot of these teams. That's where the struggles come in. You have to.
None of it even makes sense on paper. You can't even map it out to make like a resemblance of a good team.
I definitely think if Ugarte takes those defensive responsibilities like he's supposed to, Mainu can use that dribbling to get the ball up the pitch a bit, and then at that point it's just about picking out one of the 10s or an overlapping fullback, wingback to go make the space.
Yeah, I just don't think it'll work.
They don't have any of that right now. That's what I'm saying. Right now in the current system, no way, it's not going to work. But it's going to
destroy his development. He's still so young. He's definitely quality. There's no need, because that can fucking ruin a player. You know what I mean? Like, he was doing great for the most part last year, playing way more minutes than he probably should have, but ended up winning an FA Cup, scored the goal in that game. Like, he had a fantastic year. It is a hindrance to his development to continue to throw him in that pivot right now, given what everything else looks like. But yeah, I say fuck it, throw him in the 10. I'd like to see it.
I just don't. I don't see it in the 10.
My whole thing, even if you don't see it, might as well give it a try. They're in 14th, bro. In 14th, I don't see what.
Who are you playing below him? I just don't. I don't.
Bruno's. I just don't. If you're in chaos ball, I think Bruno clearly he's talented, but in a system where you're trying to play rigid and positional, he's so done. Like if they're sticking with Amarim, Bruno's gone. I think that's a formality. If they're sticking with it, it's just I don't see it working anywhere with Bruno in this system. And if Amarim's the guy that they're sticking with, this is harsh parts about a rebuild. He's done a lot for the team, given where they've been. He's fucking gone. If Amarim's staying, it's that simple for me. Do you see it anywhere in the system? I don't know where he goes.
No, I agree. I think that's been one of the biggest issues with
he's a captain.
The Amarim takeover. That's a whole issue in and of itself.
And they probably knew this because they talked to 8 fucking managers over the summer. So that's another it's a sign of negligence. You knew this is they probably had they went straight after Amarim, right? As soon as Ten Hag was sacked, boom, they're getting Amarim. They knew, they should have known in theory that Bruno's not going to fit in this guy's system. So
I mean,
are you bringing him in
I feel
October?
like I don't know. It's different.
Receiving the ball back to goal in the half space, that's not Bruno's game.
No.
Playing in a double pivot, not Bruno's game. So I don't know where he goes.
He would have to adapt to one of those 10 roles, but I just don't.
Not the 10. I think if anything, he would survive as one of the pivots. But he treats the ball. He loses the ball so much. You can't have that when it's Ugarte next to him. It just doesn't make sense.
I don't think he can play there.
So yeah, I think he's gone.
Wing back.
Yo, wait a minute.
Trent who?
You might have cooked there.
Have you heard of my favorite wingback, Bruno Fernandes?
That'd be fire. No.
Hey,
Yeah, so it's going to be tough. I mean, Dylan clearly knows too. Like this whole year is just a social experiment to test his sanity. You have to endure this because, to your point earlier, no one can come. I don't think Sir Alex could come in and figure this one out. And if he did, they would not have 11 players to roster or to be able to put out for a game. So yeah, he's kind of stuck in the shit for the rest of the calendar. Not even the calendar year. Yeah, the rest of the season probably.
yeah, calendar year's almost done.
Yeah, a bit of a dickhead, unfortunately. But yeah, they're fucked until the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I definitely think
It's
I
tough,
don't
but
think their goal is it should be immediate success. I think
no,
it should
no,
obviously
no.
they
I do
have
think
to
Amram's the guy.
scrap.
I think he's the
They
guy.
have to scrap all that thinking that we're united. Stop living in the fucking past and wake up and fucking see where you are right now. And you have to build that up slowly. So you go get 1 or 2 guys in January. There's improvements in the way you play. There might not be improvements much in the table. You might go up 2 to 3 spaces by the end of the season if you get the right 2 guys. But if you see that improvement in the way you're playing and there's clearly something to build upon with Amarim, then that's what you should be looking for right now. None of this instant success shit. It's not going to happen. There's too much pressure on United as a club for them to just sneak under the radar like that and have overnight success. I don't see it happening like that.
No, and I don't even think it can happen like that. And to your point, I think we've talked about this in previous episodes, but you're just going to have to take any positive you can get. Like you said, you might only end up in 12th, 11th, whatever it is. You don't even bother looking at the table anymore. You got to look at every game understanding this is the way.
Still got to look at the yeah. You're
No.
a little too close. You're a little too close to relegation to not look at the table.
When I was in that position, I didn't even bother looking at the fucking table. You just got to look at, okay, this is the way we're going to play moving forward. I do think I would be a lot more confident with Amarim as my guy. Just seeing the character, how he's going to handle this. He's fully understanding what's going on here. Let's not act like he's lost and, his football doesn't work. That's not what's going on. But you're going to have to take any positive you can get, seeing what players can do what in what positions, because you're going to see a lot of different, I wouldn't call them experiments, but you're going to see a lot of shit this year. So you're going to have to take any positive you can get, build on it. And this is really just a weeding out period. Devil's advocate could be change the system to scrap results, but I don't even think you have enough of a sufficient squad to even do that at this point. I think the best course of action for long-term success, given that you're already in 14th, it's over, that your only chance of Europe is in the Cups. You just have to reset, and you have to, this is what we're doing, this is how we're going to succeed, learn it. That's probably the best course of action for long-term success, instead of, okay, let's see if we can chop and change to try and salvage 8th. It's pointless. So having a clear-cut direction is a positive. There's no
salvaging anything.
No. But yeah, it's going to be ugly, and we will be tuned in.
Yes. I think the last thing I want to talk about is going off a little bit about what Dill, Dari, and I talked about last week, and that's Nkunku to United. I know there hasn't been many links, but I think we're talking about the logistics of it. What do you think? Because I know you were talking about earlier that he's being a little hard done by in the system for his development and just his caliber as a player. So
yeah, the only thing I would be skeptical about as a United fan is the work rate. Given the system and how Amarim wants to play, I haven't seen too much from him in that front, but everything else, overwhelmingly positive. I think it's a win-win.
Yeah. Do you think that could be work rate rise? Just do you think that could be
wrong position?
I'm
he doesn't
in the conference
play.
league. I'm in the wrong position. Yeah,
100%. 100%. But even when he shows it in the Prem, it's lazy as fuck. As soon as Jackson comes,
that's
up.
Also like a.
But when we're chasing games, we'll throw him up top. But yeah. Anyways.
No, I know, but he might just feel disrespected at this point.
Yeah. I agree. But yeah, in the United system, I don't think he gets misprofiled there. Mm-hmm. They know exactly where he's going. He goes into that left 10. I think he slots in perfectly. He's 26, 27 years old. I think it makes perfect sense. Just like a ruthless finisher.
And like Dylan was talking about a loan.
Loan to buy. It would have to be
Well, yeah, perfect. That's something along those
it would
lines. I
have to
think
be
that
it would
would be
have to be a
perfect.
permanent. I don't think we'd accept anything else. Realistically, I don't think anything gets done in January because who do we have as a backup striker now? I don't think we go buy one.
To you.
I fuck with you, but let's not do that. You can't imagine if Jackson goes down. I love
That's
Lee,
true.
but you can't throw an 18-year-old at the
That's
Prem
true.
week in, week
I
out.
don't know.
There's no replacement for him
If
up
you
top.
can,
But I think in the summer that probably just happens. Like I don't see it not happening. It's a simple move for him. He kind of gets the gist of the league. You know what I mean? He'd be in it for 2 years at that point. I think it makes perfect sense. I think we finally go get one of those targets, and I bring it up so much, but it just pisses me off. Like either Duran or Imradian or Samu, either one of them would have been perfect. And you're seeing it in these games. We miss that box presence. We don't have it even when Jackson. I think absolutely deserves to start every week. There's games like Everton. Oh, he's not having an impact. It's 0-0. We'd love to throw a guy up there who has a box presence. You can rip crosses at him. We have great crossers of the ball. But I think in the summer we rectify that with one of those guys, maybe even fucking Osimhen, who knows. But I think they get another striker. You have to.
No, I do too. I just think
so whenever that gets done,
last window was the best time to get
100%.
some of these guys.
We could have got Duran for 45. We had Samu
I don't think
for
Duran's
35.
going anywhere.
But we could have had him though. Like we offered twice, they rejected the bids, and they said do 45. We kept lowballing them.
Yeah, I think you could have convinced them with some cash to
Oh yeah, we could have got him.
go. But I think as long as Emery's the coach there,
Carney back.
he's staying there. He's staying.
Bro, we totally had him. If we offered 50, we would have had Duran.
You could go for. I could see like
Sheshko?
an Ollie Watkins too if they do decide to go the opposite direction.
No, because it's too similar of a profile.
To Jackson?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
All around play, drifting wide, getting in behind.
I think that box presence, you just don't look at Ollie Watkins for stuff like that, but he does have that. That dude has hops.
I don't know. I just want a big motherfucker in the middle to throw in.
He's bigger than you think. Like he's not a clunky lad.
Big like Samu, that's a big motherfucker in the middle.
But you're not gonna get him from Porto anymore. The price is gonna go way up.
Totally fucking. The worst part is our fans are the ones cooking it. Bro, it was us.
Delap.
Oh yeah, dude. We're probably just gonna buy him.
Today.
No,
bullied you.
No.
Bullied you.
Yeah, like people might even say if they just look at the stats, oh, he got a penalty. That might be like one of the best.
If he got 0 goals, if he got 0 goals, 0 assists today, he would have still bullied you guys, just throwing around your players.
Let me be clear. That was probably one of the best center forward performances I've seen all year. Like 1 through 90, it was nonstop, and the announcers throughout like, oh, he's so young, but you got to get tired at a certain point. No. Honest from the first second in terms of the pressing. He clipped Colwell early, but just all over it on the press because this thing Chelsea has, they almost play with this arrogance or like, oh, we're so good, we're so neat on the ball. Been that. When you have a fucking guy like that running at you, get rid of it. And he let them know from the very first minute. He set the tone. He wins the penalty. Controversially, but again, he's working hard. Mm-hmm. Puts it away. Really good penalty because keeper went the right way.
It was really good. You could have saved it. Yeah.
Really good pen. Really good pen. I think most guys trying to go for that probably get it saved, but he executed it perfectly. Gets the assist in the second. But just throughout the game, Ipswich had 10 people behind the ball. As soon as they win it, they boot it up to him. Most of the time, he was winning the ball or winning a foul. He was giving Tosin a really hard time. Who's an experienced
looked like a menace on counterattacks.
Every single time. I think like 85th minute, he ran like 4 people down the right-hand side, still got a shot off. Jorgensen made a few saves too, because every time he ripped one, it was always on target with pace. So he was really impressive.
Ridiculous angles too. It reminded me a lot of like Suarez Aguero vibes.
At least Jorgensen showed something because he made a lot of really good saves on those. Because every single time he was ripping shots, they were on target. Mm-hmm. So I think all around that was a really impressive performance. I know I mentioned, I don't know if it was on or off camera, but I don't love his profile in terms of Guiu similar. It's a bit of a piss take, unfortunately. I think he's a level clear of that.
I think if you guys signed the lap, he could take the spot from Jackson.
I think it would be healthy competition for years to come.
Well, of course. No, I'm not saying
But
we're
yeah.
blow him away.
They're similar.
I think
He can get
in
to
that battle, he's also a little just more equipped for the Premier League than a
yeah,
Jackson
yeah,
is.
yeah. Yeah, Jackson, you don't see that profile every day. I don't know another player really that kind of goes like that in terms of how deep he'll drop and just type of shit he tries. But yeah, Delap, that was a fucking really impressive performance. His price tag just went up another 20 mil for me. that was impressive. So I think Delap's on that list. Osimhen, Duran, Samu. Actually, Samu's totally fucking done because it was a here we go,
I don't see it.
and then we fucked him off. So
yeah,
that's done.
Personally, I don't think he'll go there. Osimhen,
I don't think. I think that's always a thing, bro, because he's on loan.
No, I know, but like you do talk. We've talked about it plenty of times. It's just his wages and the wage structure of your club. It just doesn't make sense.
We're not giving him that.
Tactically, it makes so much sense to go get him.
Let's say in the summer.
But you never know. You might just bite the bullet on that one.
Let's because again, all of our players they're on low wages, but they're on incentivized contracts. Like Palmer's on 120 right now. If we go to Champions League, he's not going to be on 120.
Yeah.
So if let's say we qualify for Champions League, which can be top 5 this year, even if we get the coefficients, all that shit. Hey, Osimhen, it's the same wages now, but we're in the Champions League, so it's actually going to go up to this. Maybe he comes. So I think I would never throw that off the table. I just think the links are going to keep coming as well, even if we're not interested. I think we probably go back in for him. But yeah, Delap, that was good, man. That was a proper.
It was fun to watch.
Performance. Yeah,
they're a good team, man. I think they have 4 to 5 players that could definitely get moved on.
Their keeper was really fucking good today too, by the way. And I was happy that Muric got dropped because he killed us when we played Burnley last year. He put up a fucking 10 out of 10 performance. So I was like, oh, they dropped him. Perfect. We're good. That motherfucker, bro. There was one I think he put off. Palmer hit a good one from outside the box. He put it off the bar and over. Palmer had the free kick. It went off the post. I don't think he touched that one. But yeah, he had a great performance.
It was hard to tell, honestly. I really couldn't tell if he touched
the free kick. No, I don't think so. But
are you talking about the free kick where there's a rebound?
No, that
or the other one.
Kunku put it right at him. I'm talking about the one Enzo laid it off.
That was a hard finish. It was a weird one.
Yeah, it was unlucky, but fuck. Yeah, we dropped fucking points again. It sucks. But yeah,
okay.
No, we're all right. We're all right.
Tell me about it.
Happen. Bro, what am I talking about? Tell me about it. Bro. Tell me about it, bro. Look at me getting ignorant. But we needed the humbling. Like I said, I think we've been a little arrogant. And just the way we play, it just looks... I think like Felix, his first 2 touches of the game, he tried something, got knocked off the ball, went down, didn't get the foul. It's the Premier League, mate. You can't do that. You can't do that. So I think it is a little bit of arrogance. I think I've heard Tottenham fans talk about it a lot with them, where it's like, it's against Ipswich, we'll be fine, but they only show it for big teams. They just kind of look like that all the time. They look like they're trying to make a comp or some shit. Like, hey, this is going to be smooth. Like, it's frustrating. It just looks lackadaisical, and especially in a game where you end up dropping points, it starts to get frustrating. I think like West Ham away, for example, this year, we won 3-0. It was super smooth sailing, but similar throughout that game. So it all just comes down to the results. But we needed the humbling, man. At least me personally, on a personal level, I did need it. I can't lie.
Well, I
almost got swept away. I almost said we are in it.
To level your point that you weren't, I think this is the big difference is when your ball might work, but there's never going to be a whole season where the way you guys play tactically one way is going to work the whole season. So there's going to be games where it gets ugly and you got to get down and dirty with it. But today it just didn't look like they could get there. If the game wasn't playing the way they wanted it to play today, then they weren't going to win. They weren't going to take anything from it, is what it looked like.
Yeah, as soon as the second one.
Ipswich are also just there, though. They were there physically. They were there to every 50-50. And
every second ball when they went deep, because we'd press him back to the keeper, he boots it long.
It might just also be that Delap performance might have been a deflator for them.
I think
your defense has been pretty good this season. A little overperforming.
They've been good, but they've had those bad moments, like Disasi fucking assisting the goal.
A lot of it, but a lot of those are ball playing. These weren't ball playing issues. These were physical issues.
The second one was ball playing. Disasi threw it away.
No, I'm not talking about the general, but just Delap's overall game. A lot of it was just
physical.
Nothing would come out of it, but he would toss one of your big center backs to the side.
So many problems.
That's where the mental thing comes in, I think.
Yeah, I would like to think Fofana shows himself better there, but again, it's apples and oranges. I think, and to that point, yes, I think Chelsea were underwhelming today. I do think you have to give equally, if not more, credit to Ipswich. I think they were fantastic today. As soon as I got that second goal, it didn't look like we'd get one. I know you watched the game too. It was the least surprising thing. Dylan was texting because he was watching United, but they'll get it 2-1. I was not confident.
No. You know why Dylan wanted it. He thought they were going to score. Dylan was trying to manifest them to score because he doesn't want Liverpool to win the league.
Yeah, well, I hate to break it to you, Dylan. Liverpool already won the league.
I would never say that.
I think just a quick thing. I got to give credit where credit's due. They look fantastic.
Dude.
They look so good. They look so comfortable in every game. Every player knows their role. I think Slot's profiled a lot of these guys a lot better than Klopp did. And by these guys, I mean the new ones that came in towards the end of Klopp. He had Diaz left wing, Gakpo center forward. Slot switched that shit around. And look at them right now. Szoboszlai is a 10 instead of one of those 8s. Salah's been Salah. Trent's been really good this year. Van Dijk's been really good. They've been unbelievable, and I see them slowing down. Yes, I don't see them letting this slip at all. I think I don't know who else comes in.
No, it would be very embarrassing if they did, but
yeah, just set that up just in case. We'll clip that part.
But
I know what you're doing.
It's happened. Not to this extent, but maybe. But they've embarrassed themselves before.
I just don't see another team in this league that has it consistently like them. Yeah, I don't see any team putting together.
Just goes into my agenda of Lucky Pool FC row.
Yeah, we're almost at the hour mark. I'll allow it.
No one can.
No, they look fucking brilliant though.
They do. But it's always
good.
They look brilliant when their competition
one
looks
game as a
shit.
manager all year, bro.
Look at the teams.
His
competition right now is Nottingham Forest.
I'm talking about I'm saying that's the only game he lost at Feyenoord and Liverpool is fucking Forest.
Boom. He's only competition right now is Forest, and they beat him.
No, don't go.
My point.
No. I give a huge tip of the cap to Slot. That's an insane job to walk into. Like, they're slowly slipping off. Yes, they got back. They were in the title race for most of the year last year.
Mbappe on the form he's in right now, and if they played Liverpool.
Nah, bro, listen. Like, I just want to say,
I think everything fell into place.
Walking into that situation where fifth and then third,
I agree, yeah.
Completely new midfield, pretty new team bar your main guys. Now here you go, Baldy, figure it out. This guy is adored by every single fan here. Good luck. That is a tough ask, and he's improved a lot of guys. Joe Gomez looks really good at center back. He was playing fullback playing fullback for the better part of 2 years, though. You know what I mean? So
injured.
I think he's instilled so much confidence into these guys. I think it's been. I just have to get this. I think it's been a commendable job from Slot. So we'll hide that at the end because no one's watching right now. So totally fine. But yeah,
I just don't agree. I'll give him props once the season's done.
Okay.
And we can look at it more. But yeah, I think everything falls into place.
I agree. But I think he's been fantastic. Anything else? Is this going to be the first sub 1 hour episode?
Yes. No, Dylan, no hour-long episode.
Let's get the hashtag Dylan out in comments. We know who the problem is. But yeah. We good?
No.
Brilliant. So, this is Grant. Mila.
And Mila.
Episode 21 in the books. Hopefully we get 3 points next time. Come on. How do we stop? You stop recording.
Oh. Yeah, I could stop recording.
Oh, yeah, you can fucking cut it whenever, man.
I can.
You
Also.
gotta cut it. Yeah, cut it by then.
Signing off.
2 words for him. Different gravy. Glorious goal! Wreathed in red. We're really seeing the most extraordinary finish here. On this day of days, has he delivered? Just magnificent! Potentially life-changing. That's football. Minute you let it under your skin, then you begin to make it better.